going? I just wanted to share 4 things with you today that have helped me to love my body more. These are things that I've struggled with. Learning to love our bodies is something that's, a journey as women. And it's been something that I reflected on a lot, because as women, we take in so many images throughout our lives of what the perfect body is in a way that's presented to us by the media. And so often I have felt like society, culture, the media tells us that our body is not good and that it needs to be fixed and changed in order to be better, or in order to fit into this cookie cutter mold of what beauty is or what the perfect body looks like. I feel like so often every magazine is like 9 tips for sexier abs, or 30 minutes to better thighs, or 3 tips for a flatter stomach. Like everything has to be fixing or changing our bodies, that we're not beautiful the way we are, that we have to do these things in order to get better or be more beautiful, etc. If you're like me, maybe you're out there and you feel sometimes like you've fallen into these places in your life where you feel like you have to try to fit into this mold of beauty, or what your body is supposed to look like trying to squeeze ourselves into that mold leads to a lot of exhaustion and sadness, and often deep struggle, and sometimes self-hate, and that's not a good place to be, because when we're in that place, we are not the women that God created us to be. I think about how often we look in the mirror. We look in the mirror, and before we think about something we love about ourselves, we think about all the things that we wish were different or that we wish we could change. How often do we wake up in the morning and start with self-hate, self-loathing, wanting to fix or change everything, rather than thinking I love this about myself? Pretty often, right? If you're like me, I struggle with that. Sometimes a lot of thinking I wish this was different, or I want to change this, rather than I love this about me. I want to talk about 4 different things that have helped me to love my body more throughout my life, things that I have focused on. The first one is shifting my focus. There are 3 words that I focus on when it comes to loving my body and taking care of my body, and those words are happy, healthy, and strong. I had to move away from, exercising in order to achieve words like flat, tone, all those different kinds of things. Happy and healthy and strong indicates to me that I am taking care of my body, that I'm not exercising and eating well in order to change my body, but in order to take care of it. And shifting my focus in the way I thought about that was really important. I hated in my dance class, I go to dance classes at the gym, and I always hated after holiday weekends, like Thanksgiving, when the teacher would come in and be like, "Hey ladies, it's time to burn off all that pie you ate over the weekend." Because I don't like seeing eating and exercising as a positive and negative exchange. I had to shift my focus from seeing if eating puts things on my body that I need to take off in order by exercising. I had to shift my focus in order to see that eating is fueling my body in order that I can exercise in order to further take care of my body. So shifting my focus in that way to see eating and exercising not as a positive and negative exchange, but 2 things that go hand in hand. And if I'm doing them well and taking care of myself, we all know when we are taking care of ourselves and when we're not. I know when I am. I know when you are, when we are, exercising and eating well, or when we're not exercising at all and eating cheeseburgers and fries all the time. We know when that is. But if I am eating well and exercising, my focus has to shift to see that those 2 things are important for me to be happy, healthy, and strong. The second one is that I had to learn what helps me enjoy taking care of my body. We all have to sweat. There's no way to get around that. Some women don't like sweating. I like sweating because it releases endorphins and it makes me happy. I had to learn to enjoy taking care of my body, what that was. A lot of times it's dance class. For some women, they enjoy lifting heavy weights, and that's great. And for some women, they love to sweat and they enjoy exercising by going to a boxing class, etc. You have to find the way for you that helps you enjoy taking care of your body. The third way is that I had to get into positive self-talk by when I'm looking in the mirror and I'm not loving myself and I'm thinking about all the things I want to change. I step back and ask myself, what in my life has told me or made me believe that these things should be changed, that these things are not beautiful? So often the answer is society, and society doesn't often present the image of a real woman. It doesn't talk about how women are, different shapes and sizes based on heritage and culture and all those different kinds of things. Like, society is presenting me often, and you, this cookie cutter image of what beauty is and what my body should look like. And so often when I'm looking in the mirror and hating my body, it's because it doesn't match up with the perfect image that society is feeding to me. When I explore the why behind why I don't love myself when I look in the mirror, like, I often realize how ridiculous the answer is, because the world isn't talking about real women. And I'm a real woman, and if you're watching this, you're a real woman too. And so stepping back and saying, like, why don't I love this part of my body? It's often because the world tells us it's not beautiful, but real women are beautiful, and if you're taking care of yourself, that's a beautiful thing. Number 4 was to realize that when I put my body down, when I call myself ugly, etc., I am calling one of God's works of art ugly. The fact is that God handcrafted you and me. That's not something that we can get around. God, the same being who made the oceans and heavens and stars and all those wonderful, beautiful things, the majestic things like the Grand Canyon and Mount Everest, like the same creator that created those things created you and I. And when I have to realize that when I put myself down, when I call myself ugly, that I'm calling God's art ugly. I mean, can you imagine working for 9 months on a project, like pouring your heart and soul into it, like handcrafting it really, really beautifully, and someone just stands there and just like tears it apart and rips it up and calls it ugly? Like, that's what we do when we put ourselves down and call ourselves ugly. So those are 4 things that have helped me to love my body more. It's a journey. It's not perfect every day. These aren't the end all and be all to me loving my body, but these are just 4 little ways that I have been able to step back and look at in order to help me love who I am. And when we love who we are as women, we are more happy and confident, and the world could use more happy, confident women who believe in themselves, in who they are, and who God created them to be. That's all for today. I'll talk to you soon. Bye!